Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to make my unorthodox omelet. And I know a lot of people want to see this. It's a long time in the making. So, if you don't want to see the most obscene, awesome omelet you've ever seen in your life, maybe don't watch the video. It's going to get really nice very fast. So, to expedite this process, I did a lot of stuff in advance because it does take some time. So, there's a bunch of video links down below to each thing that I did separately. Not everything, but most things. So, how do we get started with this? This is not like the classic omelet that I did a video about before. This is how I do it. Now, how I do it, in a nutshell, you're cooking each and every ingredient, and you're putting it inside of this bowl. You're then putting it in a pan, and then you're broiling it. That's it. That's all. Whatever you put in the omelet, you have to keep in mind, if you want it raw, it's going to be raw when basically you're done. You want cooked stuff, it has to be cooked in advance. I'm going to give you some examples of stuff that does not need to be cooked. Let's say you add in onions. If you want that kind of raw-ish onion, you're going to put it in as is in the omelet. If you want it cooked, you have to cook it beforehand. It's not going to cook enough to caramelize or to cook it down. So, let me get started. First off, you're going to start with eggs. Now, this is the most important question. How big is your pan? How thick do you want the omelets? My omelets are normally not super thick. They're about this much maximum. Oops. About that much maximum. So, I use normally 3 eggs. Crack the eggs. Throw them in the garbage. Maybe I should get the camera angle a little bit more that way. Yeah. There you go. You also want a fork and a spatula ready to go. I'm putting a splash of cream. You do not have to, but it makes it a bit more rich. With this technique specifically, you do not want to add any liquids. And if you add liquids, you got to be very mindful how it cooks. Because the cooking time is so low, if you have too much liquid, it ends up being very, very, very thin, and it's very soft. For example, one time I actually used coconut milk. This omelet was almost untransferable to the plate, but when I ate it, it was like the softest thing you could ever put in your mouth. So it has its drawbacks, but it also has very good rewards. So, eggs, cream. I'm putting a little bit of cheddar inside the mix, and then I'm going to put a little bit on top later. I'm also going to put in some corned beef, literally straight out of the can, and I'm going to break it up a little bit. I want to see if I could. Yeah, that's a bit better. Yeah. This is going to be a bit chunky, but that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to put the whole thing. Garlic. Raw garlic. Again, this is very strong. This is a personal taste. These omelets are the most variable ever. Whatever you want to put inside, basically you can put inside. Certain things, maybe not. You're not going to put like, well, I never tried a raw fish one. Maybe it could work. We will see. You remember in the last video I did the mushrooms, right? This is how it turns out under the broiler. So, it's almost the same as this, but it's just not as much, right? So I'm then putting this also in my omelet. Direct, already cooked. This is kind of a lot of mushrooms, but that's more than fine for me. It's just going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt to mix it later, but we will see. I think that's about it. Oh, I added in some tomatoes as well. Diced, cut up, already seasoned. It's very important, guys, to season this very well. Each and everything. That's very important when you do an omelet specifically. Well, no, not specifically. Everything in general should be seasoned. Each and every step. Because in the end result, it will be very, very nice. I'm going to put a little bit of herbe de Provence. And I noticed my bowl is getting very, very full. It's going to be very, very annoying for me to mix this. But we will see the madness. Put a little bit of salt. Because I always put a little bit extra salt. Even if I salt everything, it's more than fine. Okay, I'm pretty much good to go. This bowl, I get it out of the way. Now it's very important. You have to make sure everything is ready. Because once it starts, it's very fast. And you might not have time to do everything. So my plate's ready. Spatula's ready. My garnishes later are ready. Let's go. So, what I'm doing. It's a very easy process. Now, the pan is already a little bit hot. Pretend right now that there's no oil in it because I took off the mushrooms. So, the fastest way for me that I like to do, take a stick of butter like this. And I do this. Now, you could use a spray, you could use oil. I like butter and I like to spray the most. Oil, not as much, because again, it's a liquid. So, like this. Now, the goal. I want my pan hot enough so that when the egg mixture hits, it starts. But I don't want it super hot where it actually forms too much. I want a little bit, not a lot. If I put the pan itself cold as I'm broiling, it's not going to cook evenly. So I want the pan a little bit hot so that the broiler cooks from this way and it cooks from this way. Cooks like a sandwich. And then in the middle, it's perfect. It's the best way to make eggs. I promise you. Try it yourself. It's going to be amazing. So, another reason why I like butter, you see visually when it's getting hot. You see the bubbling. Like right here, you see all the action happening? It's starting to bubble. So, I'm going to let it sit a little bit longer. My broiler is at max. You want it at maximum. Just be very careful the level of how high you want it to the broiler. The higher you do it, the faster it'll cook. It's not the best idea. Put it maybe in the middle of your stove. So, the pan is okay. Do not expect it to be like, shh. It's not going to happen. So, the goal of this, I'm putting this mixture right here in the middle of my pan, and then with my spatula, I'm actually separating all the ingredients to make it even. So let's start. Flop this like this. You could mix it in your actual bowl itself. I do it like this. It's a much more natural way to do this. And at the same time, you're going to see why I did it like this. I'm going to need one more egg. I actually put a little bit too much ingredient, which is fine. Sometimes you make mistakes when you calculate things. So, crack the egg, throw it inside. Now, bam, break it up. There you go. Guys, look how beautiful this is. My element is very hot, by the way. I should have told you guys. Okay, so now, it's pretty well mixed. I'm trying to separate it as much as possible. I'm trying to keep it even. That's the most important part, is it being even. Now, I put it in my broiler. At this point, I can show my element. I do not need it anymore. I can't show you what it looks like right now in the broiler. But I'm going to try and show you each step. I'm going to take it out just to show you visually how it's going to look like. Normally, I went a little bit crazy in this video because I wanted to show you the extreme versions of this. You're going to put less ingredient. You're going to put more egg. You're going to mix it already in your bowl so it's nicely even. And when you pour it in, you're going to have the ingredients just going to be plumped in the middle. You're going to separate it. The way I did it now is like I gave you the worst case scenario example. And even then, it could turn into like the best omelet you've ever had. So keep that in mind the next time you're doing it. So we'll see right now how it is. Not even remotely close. I put a lot of ingredient, so it's gonna take a little bit of time. This is kind of resembles a frittata, but it's not a frittata. This is a lot more delicate, especially since you're not actually cooking it at extreme heats. It's only the top that's gonna be cooked a lot, and the bottom mostly, and the middle is gonna be fine. Okay, just to show you each step individually. So, now you see, it's starting to form the omelet. I don't know if you guys can see that. The edges are defined. Right now, it's a very, very weak omelet. Can I eat it like this? Maybe, but I'm not. It's a bit too wet for me. So, I'm gonna put a little bit more cheese now in the middle. But you see how fast this is, right? You would never, ever, ever be able to cook an omelet that fast on the stove. It just, you can't. It's all, unless you want all the bottom burnt. I'm gonna show you later how thick it's gonna be. And when I flip it over later, it might break because it's gonna be very, very light. Now, keep in mind, it's also very normal for your omelet to actually bubble. It's very normal. What you're gonna do, you're just gonna take it off the heat and it's gonna reduce back. Now, I love to use truffle in my omelets. I like to use it at the end. You could also put it in the beginning and at the end, but I like to just do it at the end. It's much more powerful in the palate. Okay, next step, just to show you. It's not ready yet because it's not moving. When it starts to move, you can see it's ready. But look how beautiful that is, guys. It doesn't need that much more, but basically what you're gonna do when you check, I'm gonna go with my spatula. I'm gonna go to one side and I'm gonna lift it. If it lifts perfectly fine, it's ready to go. If you see that it's starting to give some resistance, it needs a little bit more, because normally it's all flush at the bottom. Needs a little bit more time, and I'm going to show you the end results. Okay, let's see. Let's see together. That's already very, very beautiful. Now, see how I already started to lift it and it broke. When I tell you that this is the softest thing ever, I'm telling you it's the softest thing ever. So, you want to give it a nice hard shake, and you see it all broke at the bottom, which is perfect. That's what we want. You're going to see here it's a bit separated, but these omelets here, obviously in my pictures, they look nice sometimes. They don't always turn out nice. It more matters here than here for these omelets. So, I'm going to show you guys how to plate this, because it's not the easiest omelet to plate. So, I'm going to grab my plate. See if I could turn this like this. Let's see. Nope, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Is that better? Is that better? It's kind of upside down. I don't like that. Okay. That's a bit better. Okay, so give it a nice hard shock. Now, there's different types of omelets, right? The way that you've seen in my pictures. Sometimes I fold it. Sometimes I do like a ribbon effect. Those are the very, very thin omelets that I'm able to do that because it's very malleable. This is a really fat boy, okay? I'm not able to do that. I'm going to try and fold it. It's probably going to make a mess, but I'm going to show you it's not going to be that bad. So, I'm tilting my pan, okay? And I'm using the spatula to like hold it up a little bit. And I'm just sliding it like that. It's not perfectly centered, so what I'm gonna do, gonna go like this. Guys, it's done. Look how easy that was. I'm gonna show you the end results very soon. Visually for me, it's awesome, but the cameras are not super high quality. You're not gonna be able to see it. Amazing, amazing. But I'm gonna throw some little beautiful tomatoes here, like that. I'm also going to take some Parmesan, and I'm going to grate it very beautifully on there. Make sure that your grater is very, very dry when you do this. So, and don't be surprised that if your Parmesan grating slices are melted away, perfectly fine. I'm going to put a very, very healthy amount because, number one, it adds kind of like a salty, kind of beautiful taste. And that's what I want. And I want all the tomatoes to be enveloped in this white product. Because visually, I think it's going to look very nice. Now, you could put herbs or you could season it however you want. I'm going to put a little bit of herb de Provence on it. Like that. A little bit on the edges. So you can see that I put it inside the omelet. Because sometimes you display on the outside what's on the inside. So I'm going to put a little bit of truffle oil. Where are you, little bottle of truffle oil? It's trying to hide from me because it's scared. Now, do not want to put a lot. You want to thumb it. And you're going to make drops. Bang, bang, bang. There's a little bit of drops here and there. It's very powerful stuff. You do not want a lot. Okay, good to go. I'm going to show you now with the camera the end result. And I'm also obviously going to take a picture. That's going to be the thumbnail. And that's going to be what you guys see on Instagram if you are there. Guys, look how beautiful that is. Oh my god. So, that concludes this video on the unorthodox omelet. I promise you, you make this at home, you follow the same ways I did it, you're not going to go back to the other way. You're going to keep doing it this way. So, I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe at the bottom, and watch all the other links of how I did individual things if you do not know how to do it. I hope you guys learned something. Until the next time, bye-bye guys!